Hello, my name is Tyson Spring. I'm a clinical herbalist, and I would like to talk to you about inflammatory skin diseases such as hives. Um, I personally have suffered from hives. I've I had it for like 2 years, well, you could say 3 years in a row, really badly. The first year, I had it all the way from my head all the way down to my toes. It was really bad. I couldn't even sit down comfortably. I had to stand for like hours with my arms out so that my skin wasn't touching itself. It was pretty bad, and I had to take off a week from work because I had it for a full week straight. I couldn't even take a hot shower because the hot water would cause it to spread. And so I would take a cold shower. The cold shower actually made it worse too it would because when you take a shower and you get out of the shower, the water evaporates off you and it actually dries out your skin and makes you more dry, which makes it more itchy. So it's actually worse. The other thing I wanted to mention about showers and baths is some people talk about putting oatmeal in the water, and that helps to pull things out of the skin, and that can work, but you have to be very careful with that too because it will also pull the moisture. Sorry, the moisture out of your skin as well, and cause you to be even more dry. And so that's kind of dangerous. There is one way around that, which I wouldn't recommend because I don't think it's gonna work in every case. But you can just immediately coat yourself with oil of some sort, like coconut oil or whatever, calendula oil, whatever um, you choose to be using for that. Those are two some. Those are both good options for that, though. Um, so the first time I got it really bad, what I ended up doing that seemed to help the most was I took aloe gel, and then I had turmeric, and so turmeric's anti-inflammatory, and aloe gel is very soothing and moistening and relaxing to the skin for the itchiness. And so I mixed those two together, and it was like this thick, nasty paste, and I spread it all over myself. I was all yellow from it, and that helped a little bit. It didn't cure it, but it helped it. And so about a week later, it eventually just went away on its own. Um, I was staying out of the heat, and I think the heat was what was causing it. So the next year, I was doing pretty well because I was avoiding spicy foods, which are pro-inflammatory because the heat can cause inflammation, and so the spicy foods are considered hot energetically. This is according to Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, which is what my system is rooted in, and so that means that you are energetically hot, but not necessarily literally hot. So a simple way to explain that is if you take two people, one person's hot, one person's cold energetically, and they're at the same temperature physically, and then you put them into a hotter room, the person that is considered to be hot energetically or have internal heat is going to react to the heat faster. They might show signs of redness in their face. Um, some people, in some rare cases, can even hear like ringing in their ears, which I um, have experienced from excess heat. Which that's another story, though. And inflammation is increased. There are other things too, but I'm not going to get too far into that. So, anyways, the heat is what was causing my hives to break out, and so I I know that I am a person who has excess heat, um, because of just knowing myself and what I've learned through herbalism to recognize those traits within myself. So what I did was I took coconut water, uh, drank that all the time. that helped cool down, because coconut water is said to be cooling. That's why people like to drink it in the summertime. And I avoided spicy foods, which would trigger the inflammation and the heat. And so, oh yeah, and then also I would take liver herbs. Like just a good example would be dandelion. Another example, um, burdock root. There's tons of herbs. I'm not going to get into that right now, but those are good for the liver. And the reason why that matters is because the liver filters the blood, and the reason why that matters is because the blood nourishes the skin. And so, generally, if there is a problem with the liver, it's going to manifest in the skin. Generally speaking, it's kind of like a general idea that the skin reflects what's going on inside. And so, the liver is very important. So, the liver and the blood and the skin are very connected. So, I managed to make it through the summer of the next year after that. Um, but then I had some salsa, and during fall time, um, I reacted. So it wasn't that bad that time because I'd been taking care of myself, taking lots of cooling herbs and herbs for the liver and whatnot. But I did break out for a few days, and so it was pretty bad. But it wasn't a week long, and I didn't have to take too much time off of work. So, um, just to explain a little bit more about this whole heat process, it's associated with pitta dosha, which is one of the three doshas of Ayurveda. Pitta is associated with heat, generally speaking, and that's what was going on with me. So, another reason why the liver is so important is because in Chinese medicine or TCM, the there is something called liver fire rising, which is pretty common with people who have excess heat. Where the liver is said to, um, whether you take it literally or metaphorically, it creates a fire, and so the fire rises up from the liver, goes into the head, and it can cause balding. It can damage the eyes. It can damage your earring. It can just turn your face red, cause inflammation, for example, inflammatory skin disease. And so that's what was going on with me. That you have to be careful with this though, because there's another type called liver yang rising as opposed to liver fire rising, and that's due to a lack of yin, or what they call yin. Sorry, um, where the yang, however you want to pronounce it, separates and goes upwards and has the same effect as a liver fire rising, but it's due to a different cause. Instead of it being due to excess heat, it's due to a deficiency in yin or yin, however you want to pronounce it, which is cold, moist substance that kind of holds your body together. But I won't get too far into that. I just want to make sure that people know that there's a difference between that, and it's very technical. So before you go along saying that you have liver fire rising, it may be something different. So, anyways, that's why the liver is important. The next year after that, I had been handling this a little better, avoiding spicy things even more, and taking proper herbs. Like another liver herb, Bupleurum, from Chinese medicine, is a good one. I was taking that, and I was also taking another one called Qing Dai, and that's not for the liver. Well, it actually does benefit bile, which it is somewhat for the liver, but it's really more to cool down the blood in general. Again, there's the connection between the liver and the blood and the skin. And what that does is just drastic cooling. So again, for the people with liver yang rising as opposed to liver fire rising, that might not be a very good herb for you because it depletes the yin substance, and that could actually increase the liver yang rising if that is what's going on. So you have to be careful about this sort of thing. But for me, I just had plain simple excess heat, and it was very obvious, not due to a deficiency in cooling things or things like fat and like calcium and yin or yin substance of the body. And so I took that and it definitely helped a lot. But one day at work during the hottest part of the summer, um, I was working at a restaurant, opening a restaurant, and I noticed that my skin started to feel real leathery. And I looked down and I realized that I was starting to break out with hives. And so I got a little worried, but overall, I knew that it shouldn't be too bad this time because I'd been taking care of myself. So I actually took a photo of it to document it so I could be like, hey, look, this is what was happening. I wanted to show what would happen after I took care of myself even more. And so what I did was I happened to have some King Dai pills in my pocket. And so I took those, and where I work, we happen to have coconut water. And so I drank a bunch of coconut water with the pills, and literally within 1 hour, all the redness all over my arm and all the little bumps forming on my arm completely went away, and there's no redness at all within 1 hour after doing that while opening a restaurant. So I was also under the stress, which also stress is also said to cause skin conditions like that, inflammatory skin conditions. So it just goes to show that it was really the heat, and following that protocol really did work. So I just have to mention that this is my experience as a pitta, person with excess heat, in other words. And there are other types of people. The other two doshas are vata and kapha. So really quick, I'll explain vata. Vata is someone who is generally dry and cold, and they tend to be skinny as well. So these people, they tend to, so basically, heat is considered a toxin in Ayurveda and Chinese medicine. If it's an excess heat, it's considered toxin because it's bad for the body. And so, Vata, they're not really dealing with heat as a toxin, and the heat just goes out through the pores, or however you can urinate it out. Sorry, or there are other ways to get it out of the body. But generally, Vata, they're like dried up and and cold, and like so all their like systems of elimination are kind of like shriveled up and like hard, and so you really want to like moisten those. So you're gonna want to give them demulcent herbs, and a demulcent herb is just an herb that's lubricating. um, you want to give them, they want to drink more water and have more healthy like omega 3s. The demulcent herbs are going to increase the water and the fat to some degree, is going to be basically their body won't be so dried out. The mechanisms of that are a little unclear, but somehow it works. And the reason for that is because everything, not everything, most things are water soluble, and what's not water soluble is fat soluble, generally speaking, within the body. And so those two things are necessary for proper elimination. The other thing for a Vata person who is going to be cold, dry, and skinny is they are going to probably have lymphatic drainage issues, and the lymph is something that is generally left out of alternative medicine, or not alternative medicine but mainstream medicine. um, and it's very important because it's necessary to drain the interstitial tissue of the body, which is just like in between the cells. It's basically like your circulation, but it's not of the blood. And so it's almost as important as your blood circulation, but people for some reason tend to overlook it a lot. So you're going to want to get that in order to help flush out whatever it is that's causing this irritation in the body, which is triggering this inflammatory response in the skin. And so, generally, um, there are herbs. Manjistha is a great one. Other things that are great for the lymphatic system is going to be anything that can dye your skin red. For example, beets are probably the best for the lymphatic system. If you eat a good, hefty, at least a serving, you could eat an entire meal where it's just beets, or you could add a little bit of something else to it and do that daily if you really want to increase the lymphatic flow. The other thing is berries, blueberries, anything that's going to have a red stained color. If you were to like squeeze it on your skin, it would turn it red or blue, actually, or purple. Um, those things will be beneficial for the lymphatic system. And that's going to be for Vata people who are cold and dry and skinny, generally speaking. You're also going to work on the liver as well, because the liver is associated with the blood and the skin. And Vata people tend to be stagnant because everything's dried up and everything's kind of stuck, and so things aren't really flowing like the water. And so that generally manifests as a stagnant liver, and that affects the skin. Um, so the other type of person that I want to mention is the Kapha person. That's the third dosha from Ayurveda. There are three doshas: Pitta, Vata, Kapha. So Kapha is more they're bigger boned. They're going to be bigger people, heavier. And they're going to have more wetness to their body, unlike Vata. So they're not going to be dry. And they are going to be cold in nature too, similar to the Vata. So this type of person is an excess of yin or yin, however you want to pronounce it, and they're congested, as opposed to the Vata, where it's just like kind of dried up and like stuck and hard. The Kapha is the opposite, where they're wet and lubricated, but they're like there's lots of mass, and it's just like too much stuff stuffed in there all at once. Sorry. And so those types of people, they're going to need their metabolism improved, or their digestion warmed up. I should have mentioned earlier with the Vata person as well, they want their digestion warmed up, but you also want to be very careful with that, because you don't want to take things that are too spicy, which will trigger inflammation, because heat causes inflammation. So a little bit of warmth in the digestive system is good for these types of people, but not very much, because you don't want that heat to go much anywhere more than in the digestive system. And if you eat lots of hot stuff, it's gonna warm up your whole body, and there you go. But you are gonna want to increase agni, which is in Ayurveda the digestive fire, which is heat. So you do need a little bit of heat, but be very careful not to overdo it with hot spices. I would just avoid hot spices. Maybe use a little ginger, and a great one that's going to improve the digestive fire without being very hot in nature is fennel seeds. And so with these kapha people who are going to be bigger in nature, um, you're like I said, improve the metabolism of the digestion and cellular metabolism as well. You're also going to want to, and that's going to be done with warming herbs, but not hot herbs. You're also going to want to increase the circulation, the blood circulation, um, to get things moving more, to get things to be able to detox more too. And then you're also going to want to do the very same thing with the lymphatic system. Again, for the very same reasons as mentioned earlier. And then you're also going to want to just decongest things in general. So that could be just lay off the heavy fats, try and get some more exercise, things along that nature. And in some cases, so kapha types of people that I'm talking about right now are less likely to get these sorts of skin conditions due to heat, um, although they can get it in some aspect to a hot liver. But so you want to take things that are slightly warming to the digestion, but not spicy, because regardless, spicy food can cause inflammation. So those are the three basic types of people according to Ayurveda. So I hope that this helps you understand a little bit more about where you would fall into line and how to go about treating your inflammatory skin condition, whether it be hives or any sort of dermatitis. It's all basically treated the same in alternative medicine, um, with these things in mind that you have to differentiate what is causing it. So, I hope this helps. My name is Tyson Spring. I am a clinical herbalist. I practice in Portland, Oregon, and I also practice throughout the world over the internet through Skype. You can make appointments with me online through my website. I work with global herbalism, which is rooted in Ayurveda and Chinese medicine and Western herbalism, along with diet and lifestyle. And I like to use supplements as well. Um, Check out my website, herblife.site. There's no www, it's just simply herblife.site. Thank you.